warm welcome to all Honorable Vice Chancellors and the Director ORICs of universities in Punjab. Thank you so very much for joining in this webinar. It's great honor for me to welcome our keynote guest speakers, very good friends and colleagues, Dr. Jawwad Darr at University College London, UK, and Dr. Ihtesham Rehman at Lancaster University, UK. Sir, thank you very much for joining and on this webinar organized jointly with UPSIGN and Punjab Higher Education Commission. UPSIGN, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that is a network of UK-Pakistan Science Innovation Global Network, and working in the field of science, engineering, technology, and promoting science, particularly with focus on Pakistan and extending cooperation with various institutions in the country. Very recently, Dr. Jawwad and Dr. Ihtesham Rehman have had a meeting with the Honorable Prime Minister. And as a result of that, there are a lot of discussions in the Ministry of Science and Technology and at Higher Education Commission. And earlier, they have been instrumental in developing cooperation with COMSAT, particularly setting up of this interdisciplinary research center at Lahore, COMSAT, and also collaboration with many institutions in the country. Very eminent researchers, and I had the pleasure and honor to meet them and then work with them at various occasions, and also looking forward to take this opportunity to extend this cooperation with Punjab Higher Education Commission and also with the universities in Pakistan, and also to see how the expat and the experts, professors and scientists working abroad, particularly in UK, can be helpful and can join through this UPSIGN forum and then extend their cooperation for the promotion of science research. Ladies and gentlemen, today's topic is very important for the impactful research cooperation, where how we can develop our competencies and expertise in the field of research, particularly from lab scale research to commercialization, which is the need of the hour. And in this challenging world and changing times, we have to see that through this video conference, through online and webinars, how we can extend our education, cooperation in research and exchange of expertise, and providing this opportunity to our students and young faculty members so that they can also not only join with the international forum, but also can identify areas of research. And I'm sure that both our own honorable professors will talk and give us the guidelines that the way forward. Universities have been doing a good job as far as our ranking, as far as our research profile is concerned. But there are serious challenges on part of technology commercialization. And from that perspective, we need to have the experience and expertise from the experts like Professor Darr and Professor Ihtesham Rehman, who have been contributing in a best possible manner in universities in UK and also helping universities in Pakistan. And sharing that knowledge and experience would be, I'm sure, good learning experience for all of us. And we look forward to work with all the universities and also establish a network where we can work together and do resource sharing and also help each other for the field of science, engineering, and technology, and particularly promoting education, higher education in the country with the high quality of standards. So thank you so very much, and it's great honor for me once again to welcome all of you and our keynote speakers. And I would request Dr. Jawwad Darr to kindly get started. But let me also thank Dr. Darr and his team at the UPSIGN for this cooperation and making all the arrangements possible. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Unmute. Thank you. Can you see those slides?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll put them in projector mode. Now still okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so first of all, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's in the morning here, and to be honest, because of COVID, everybody's sleeping is messed up. So I've probably had about 4 hours sleep. Ihtesham Bhai has very kindly suggested that we just give a quick presentation as quick as we can, and then we get to some more discussion and some mutual kind of maybe what I would like to do if agar aap ijazat de, I would like to just have a few panel questions with Ihtesham and another member of our team, and then go into open Q&A. Would that be okay, sir?
Welcome, sir.
Okay. So look, I'll just introduce myself. I'm a British Pakistani, which means I was born in the UK. Okay, my parents, my dad is from Sialkot and my mother is from Lahore. I spent a lot of time in Lahore, and I absolutely love Lahore and Punjab, and it's a real honor to speak in front of you today. I think it's obviously I'm based at UCL. Look, we set up UPSIGN in 2017 because there was some wide-held ideas that Pakistanis don't work together, right? We like to compete against each other. We don't work together. And I grew up in a place called Bradford that you might have heard of. And in Bradford, I think probably is one of the most challenging places to live in the UK because Pakistanis don't work together. And so somehow I ended up as a professor at UCL by the grace of Allah. But the truth is, very few people end up in good universities from our diaspora, but the people who are there want to give back. And generally, people want to work with Pakistan and support Pakistan. So what we try and do is we have two parts to our mission: helping the Pakistani higher education institutions, and we've been doing it. I've been a visiting professor for 12 years in COMSATs, thanks to my colleague Ihtesham. And the UK mission is what about the young people and the people who are not getting ahead in their careers? So this slide is probably the most important slide that I want you to understand. That this is probably the last generation, the diaspora in the UK. So most of our team is born in Pakistan, okay? And they came to the UK for some reason. But this generation is the last generation that will probably care about what happens in Pakistan, its universities, its education. The next generation is probably born in the UK. They are much weaker links, okay? And I just want you to just digest that point, because what we are is a bunch of volunteers. We all have full-time jobs. Everything we do with UPSIGN, and we have achieved a huge amount of things, has been sacrificing our work time. So I just want you to understand those key points that we are here to help, but it might be too late if we wait a few 10 more years. The game will change. We've done a lot of events even about tourism of Pakistan, promoting Pakistan in the UK, talking about the challenges of people in the Pakistani people in the UK and Pakistani people through discussing things such as UN Sustainable Development Goals. So since 2017, we've been very, very active. And I should say, you're seeing me and Ihtesham, and you'll see Madiha and Khalid in a minute. But the truth is, it's a team of core volunteers, but we are a network, and that is our strength. We are connected to most academics who have Pakistani descent, or as many as possible. Everybody knows us, and many people are on our network. And I'll show you how we connect. So how we connect to them is really through various WhatsApp groups. So we basically have a core group. We have topic leaders, and I'll talk about these UN Sustainable Development Goals. We have about 6 topics at the moment. And what we do is through these topic leaders, so Ihtesham is a topic leader on healthcare. I am a topic leader on energy, water, and I'll name some more topic leaders. Khalid is on agriculture, and Madia, who's here today, she is on education. Now, what we do is the topic leaders form groups on social media, and those groups are purely there to discuss the subject. We don't discuss politics, and we don't discuss other things as well. We just stick to the topic. So it's quite professional. Now, this is a very complicated diagram. I'm not even going to talk about it, but I'm going to put it on the slide. So anybody who has time, you can have a look at how we work with people. So I'll just show you some links right now. So today we are trying to link, this is UPSIGN in the middle. Today we are trying to link up with HEC Punjab and its universities. But we have limited resources. So what we're able to do is very much about working at the higher level. And I'll talk more about how we can work with individuals or universities. But look, we even are, there's another arrow over here. We're even petitioning the government. On Monday, I was talking to Lord Amar Safraz about the Newton Fund. Me and Khalid were talking to him. So we even are talking to people at the highest levels of UK government. We regularly have meetings with the High Commission, the UK High Commission, and we often are helping the Pakistan High Commission when they get asked about, I mean, last week, a few weeks ago, we wrote a small few points about education, higher education. They asked us, they got a request from Islamabad, and we got some experts from UK, from universities. So this is a complicated diagram. I'm not going to go through it. But, you know, all the way from UK trade with Pakistan and mutual trade and cooperation, we have meetings with people. And of course, we know government ministers, we know people. I mean, I'm not going to say how many of these are useful, but, you know, we found them very useful. And we also talked to Atta Rahman. We have a monthly meeting with Atta Rahman to talk about the knowledge economy and just exchanging our thoughts on that. Now, so please look at this diagram when you have more time, if you're interested. I'm not going to discuss the diagram, but I did draw it for my own, just to understand what the connections are. So what did we do and what are we doing? Well, this was about 3 months' work and a budget of £200,000. So you can multiply that in rupees, if you like, by 220 or whatever it is. So this was through the UKRI and other funders supported 70 odd academics. So in total, about 140 academics got together in Islamabad, and we ran this. Actually, we were originally running this we were going to run this in Lahore as well, but because of the various situations, I think it was the closing of airspace the first time. The whole thing got cancelled literally a week before we were running this. But all of our volunteers, we organized this, we ran it, and it was a grant to develop grant ideas. So we are very good at getting people in a room and putting grant ideas, particularly ones that are interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary. So these were the 3 topics. And in all of these 3 topics, we have leaders who run these social media groups talking about these topics and sharing knowledge. So this is already happening. Because of this, we obviously met the Prime Minister and we met the President. But the main point to say is because of this workshop and the effort we went to, the UK High Commission in Islamabad actually offered us to fund a team of people. But when COVID struck, as bad as it has, that hasn't happened yet. But we are still hoping that they will come back and fund a small team of people in Pakistan or the UK, because we really are maxed out. We have a day job. We have one admin person who works for me, and that is all we have. Everything we do is through just people giving up their time. And you know what we would really like is to have some support in Pakistan. So far, Pakistan has not given us a single penny, no institution. We've had the support of COMSATs, I would say, as the major contributor to their human resource by helping us with our conference. They were very, very helpful. And I've been there 12 years, so I'm very lucky. I should say the key contact we have in COMSATs is through the center that Ihtesham Bhai runs in the IRC in biomedical materials. And of course, the person running that center in Pakistan is a graduate from GIKI. And, we are indebted to Fazal Khalid for producing such an amazing researcher. And, that's all thanks to you, sir, and the quality of graduates you produce. So we're running webinars. I've just put a list there. You're very welcome to read this list. I think particularly on the agriculture, Khalid Mahmood Saab who's here, and you're welcome to ask him any questions about agriculture. They are very, very active. I would say the most active groups, I'll give a list of the groups, but the most active is definitely, I would say, healthcare and agriculture, probably because we have more people and more interest in Pakistan, and I suppose education as well. So these are our WhatsApp groups, and anybody can join, okay? So each one is a separate WhatsApp group. And in the middle, we have these 2 groups we call the UK group and the global group, which means that this is largely for the UK academics. It's not any subject specific. The global group is anybody can join from all over the world, and it's very open, but it must be about UK, Pakistan, or Pakistan involving Pakistan. It's not like a chat group. It's basically talking about business or education or research. So these are the topic groups. And so in each one, there could be up to 200 people in there from UK, some from Pakistan. And then when they have any webinars or any initiatives, they post on those groups. Or if something interesting is happening, they post on those groups. You can join them through our website. It's very easy to join. You just go through the links. Now, the ones that are highlighted in yellow are also where we have a topic leader, an academic who is leading this and driving this forward. So the newest one is knowledge economy, for example. But the most established, I'd say, with agri and healthcare particularly. And also we recently, well, relatively recently, we have AI digital. And I'll talk more about the people who are running these groups, but I'm going to be very quick because of time. So I'm the chairman. I'm at UCL. My 12 years or more, I've been a visiting professor to IRCBM, set up by Ihtesham Bhai, and I also am involved in battery research, and I've been trying to encourage that. And I'm delighted to say that in about 3 weeks from now, the first student from Punjab HEC, PhD student, happens to have been funded in battery research in sodium-ion batteries for sustainable batteries. So I'm really indebted to Pakistan HEC. My research is industrial materials, essentially. Ihtesham, who is on the call, he's one of the, I would say, world leaders, certainly UK leading in biomedical materials. He came from Punjab, after he went to Punjab University, he came to the UK. And what is amazing is the center that many of you will be aware about on the Ravin Road, originally the IRC in biomedical materials. And I won't go on too much about it, but you really should look at this place. I mean, he has poured all of his expertise into the training of people, quality assurance, and it is really a model center. And you know, there's a whole bunch of information out there about this, and I recommend you have a look. Healthcare co-lead is Parveen Ali. In particular, I mean, there's a bunch of things she's doing, but I'll just mention in particular, we have been working with the Foreign Office on nurse training or training of healthcare professionals. In Pakistan, there's a big shortage of high quality nurses. And this is something, M-level nurses are very, very few. And Parveen is a graduate from a top nursing institute in Karachi, I think. And obviously she's very well known in the nursing community. And she teaches on a lot more than that. And she's been involved in a lot of sort of training about how to write papers and things like that. And so she's done a lot of webinars on these sort of topics, but you can read them for yourselves. I think the nurse training thing is going to go forward. And we are just trying to, this is going all the way up to ministerial health minister level. And inshallah, there'll be something developing this year. Madhya, who is on the call today, in particular, you know, she works at UCL. She's done a lot of stuff around women in leadership and gender equality. And I think that is something that we feel very strongly about. Now, in particular, one of the big initiatives I'm going to mention is PhD supervisor training in Pakistan. And of course, women in leadership. But the first one is something we are working on. And we do need to engage with the universities. And it's going to be a scalable method. And I'll talk a bit about this train the trainers and how we want to do it. And I would love your feedback on this, whether you feel it's necessary or needed. From what we know, it's needed. Ashik Anjum, again, a lot of expertise around AI and digital. He leads our group on this. And you could say if one person was probably more responsible for Pakistan getting into AI and digital, it's probably Ashik. And I could tell you a lot about why that is. But quite a long time ago, he worked with the HEC under the Islamabad HEC under the previous persons there. And he put the ideas forward for Pakistan should invest in AI and develop that. So he's been heavily involved in a lot of that. One thing he is helping me with is the database of experts. So one of the things, I mean, we've been asking many people in Pakistan. I've never asked HEC Punjab, but for a long time, I felt that we need to involve the Pakistanis in UK, the professors in the UK, to get involved in reviewing grants, reviewing papers, or doing PhD thesis defenses or as the examiners. And what we want to do is we're actually using AI to create this database of who is in the UK, what is their expertise, and we want that database to be accessible by the universities in a controlled way. So we are developing the prototype right now. And the way to do it is to go to Google Scholar with the AI and take that information, and then you know what everybody does. And then the idea is to contact them and then ask them if they'd be willing to, what would they be willing to do? Would they want to co-supervise any student? What, you know, so it's, we have basically a set of tick boxes. And so this is a way that people like me can say, I'm interested in this, but I'm not interested in doing this because I don't have time. And because often we just get contacted out of the blue about something random. And we'd like to try and find a way where we know who the experts are, and then we can access those experts because they've agreed that they're willing to do something for Pakistan. So this needs a lot of support, particularly once, even if we get a version set up, it's going to need maintaining, and we don't have funds to do that. So the two leads on agriculture, and Farouk is the third lead, but I'll talk about Farouk Saab in a minute. So Khalid Mahmood, who's on the call, Professor Tariq Butt. So Khalid is from Rothamsted, and Tariq is from Swansea University. I mean, they're working on a whole bunch of things here. You can ask Khalid on the call if you like. But in particular, I'd say biopesticides, or, you know, is one of the big areas that I'd say digital agri, livestock health are all important to Khalid as well. I think the biopesticides is an interesting one. We all know, I mean, you must all know, of course, the big issue with the pesticides and overuse of pesticides in Pakistan. These guys have got solutions. They are very interested in how how to interact with industry in Pakistan. So one of the companies is called RasBio, and this actually company is owned by Dr. Farouk Shah, who's leading the knowledge economy. Now, he's also an agriculturist by background, and he is actually currently in Pakistan, and his company is actually sponsoring research in Nust University with a student there who's working on some industrial projects. One of the things that he and I are very interested in, why do Pakistani universities not have more spin-outs? And we've looked into this and we think we know the answer. And a lot of it's related to intellectual property. So, I mean, Ihtesham Bhai also is very passionate about this. He knows that if you have intellectual property and patents, it's very difficult to take that and put it into a spin-out. The easiest model is licensing the patents. So these are things that policy documents around this area is something that Farouk and me and others are developing, because we think it's really important to start to, you know, you want university startups. You've got 65% of your population under 30. They need to find 1 million jobs a year. You all know this. So I've summarized some key points. Okay, I will have missed out a hell of a lot of things, so I'm really sorry to those I missed. But how can you get involved? So we can support webinars and training. Okay, it's very easy in terms of time commitment, but it would be good. So we run webinars and training webinars all the time. How to write a paper, how to do this, how to do that, you know, just all kinds of stuff. It would be good to have a way to communicate with you or your departments or your universities. You know, this would be a very good thing to develop after this conversation. Number two, we want you to ask your staff to join our WhatsApp group so you can be connected through these WhatsApp groups, as long as they stick to the rules of the you know, it's, if we have an agriculture group, we're talking about agriculture, not random stuff. Okay. Training, as I said, we are going to run, we've already got the support of At the Rahman and COMSTEC. COMSTEC have offered, if this year now, if we can develop a training course for people who are going to supervise a PhD in Pakistan, right? If you are a supervisor for a PhD student in Pakistan, what skills do you need? We have identified this is a real issue, the behaviors and all kinds of things. We value the input of all people on this call. We absolutely value your input, but we're going to be talking about all aspects of being a supervisor of a PhD. So we are doing consultation at the moment. Madhya is leading that from the education side. And we have experts who have done this kind of thing in Pakistan before through the previous HEC. So, you know, this is at the moment being developed, and we're really happy to have somebody, if somebody wants to talk to us about giving input, we're very happy. We're going to work with the UK experts in UCL and other universities, and also the Pakistani professors and academics as well who want to join. I've already talked about the academic database in pink. That academic database is going to be, you know, that is being developed, and I'm having a meeting in the next couple of weeks. But you know, how are we going to maintain it? How are we going to, you know, it's going to need resource. If you think it's important, please help us to find a way to support it. we want to see how we can help with your PhD students. To cut a long story short, for many years now, you've been sending very bright students. When they come here, they don't have a good time. The supervisor doesn't understand them. The topics they are working on not relevant to Pakistan's problems. Why are we doing this? Okay. I'm sure it's changing now. People are waking up to the fact that they should be having PhD studentships in this that are relevant to Pakistan's problems. We want to support that. We also have ways of reducing the fees, and this is already happening. And that's not the key point, because the key point is that you don't waste your money on topics that are not relevant and supervisors who don't care. Okay, and a lot of the experience they have is not often a good one. So how can UPSIGN, how can we support through just personal improvement training in terms of thinking about their situation, thinking about cultural issues? We can even help to prepare them before they come to the UK. So this is a question really for Fazal Khalid Saab. Policy development, particularly around IP policy in universities and spinning out, amongst others. Can we connect you to help you get visiting faculty? If that's the case, what do you offer? So I know there's a scheme with COMSTEC. They already offered, if we can find people who want to become visiting faculty in certain universities, they can help. So is there something we can do there? And finally, we run as a charity. We've been funding ourselves through various pots of money, but we would love to have people on the Pakistan side helping us with admin support, with our newsletter, with our website. I know this is a bit of a begging exercise, but I need to say it because at some point we will run out of cash. So that's the end of my talk. I hope I didn't take too long. But I wanted just to bring in a couple of people, if I may, Fazal Khalid, but I'll hand back to you. If you're happy for me or you to ask these questions, there's a couple of questions for Madhya on education and Ihtesham around industry. But I'm going to leave it to you how you'd like to run the rest of this meeting. And obviously, we can even have open Q&A. Khalid is also here from the agriculture side. So you have Khalid Mahmood from agriculture, Ihtesham talking about anything you like, including industry, and Madhya on education. Okay.
So I would request, if Dr. Ihtesham and other colleagues can also take few minutes to highlight some of their research areas so that we are a little more up to date, and then we'll take up question answers.
Okay, so look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it over to Ihtesham and then maybe Madhya, and if Khalid wants to come in. Is that okay? So Ihtesham Bhai, would you like to come in? And please, I know you've got a bunch of things you want to talk about that I probably missed, but it's up to you. Go for it. If you unmute yourself.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. And Jawwad Bhai, Dr. Fazal Khalid, thank you very much. Jawwad, you have covered in detail and more or less everything in there. And it's interesting to see those things which I flagged up many years back. You have flagged up still again that these are the challenges. These are the things which needs to be addressed. When it comes to research in Pakistan, I will highlight only two things which are very dear to me. Research and building a bridge between universities and industries. Those are the two things which are the cornerstone for knowledge economy, which Professor Rehman and others have been talking about. When it comes to the research in Pakistan, let me take you back a bit. When we were talking about research in the early 1990s, when actually I started knocking at the door at the universities. And Professor Fazal Khalid will know and I hope he can recall when we first met at GIKI. And the reason I took the Queen Mary delegation to GIKI, and at that time, GIK was the only institution which was doing research of translational nature. And that was a big plus to me. That's the reason I took the delegation to GIKI to get the research done. And after that, I went to COMSAT and met Dr. Junaid Zaidi. And the reason I actually formed partnership with Dr. Junaid Zaidi and through COMSAT was that he was also looking at the translational side. He had a vision that we want to do research which can be diverted towards the benefit of the Pakistan.
Ihtesham, you know that Junaid Zaidi's on the call as well, so just unko salam kar raha hu.
Right, just noticed. Assalamualaikum, Dar sir. Thanks, Jawwad, for flagging it up. So, Dr. Junaid Zaidi, I remember I had one meeting with him. The reason I will come back to why I'm flagging up these things. I actually was that close to giving up on my efforts. I kept coming to Pakistan for 3 years and wasn't getting anywhere. Next day I was going back in the evening, I met him and I gave him very abruptly my vision, what I want to do. And he said, "Kab karna hai?" So I said, I will like to do it as soon as possible. Abhi kar lo. So that quick decision making, I actually got a bit nervous. I said, hang on, why this guy is saying abhi kar lo? And he said, kal aa jao, baat karte hain baith ke. So I said, yes, but I've got these condition. I want to do on this condition. Done. And I was getting more skeptic. Why is agreeing to everything? But the reason I'm flagging up these things, these are the decision making, these are the visionary things which you have to grab and have to own them. I asked Junaid Zaidi that time, my main condition is I will run this center on my terms and you will have nothing to do with it. And he said, yes, I agreed. And to date, he has stuck by this decision. Either I've appointed anything, either I've done research direction, it never interfered. And that is the successful ingredient in research. You have to let the research flourish. Research is a culture. In IRC biomedical material, which I established, let me share one more thing with you. There is not a single person, apart from Akif, which Jawwad mentioned. He was the only person coming from the biomaterials background. Every single one of them has been trained by us collectively as a team in biomaterials. They came as biologists, they came as clinicians, dental surgeon, engineers, the physicists, all working as a team. So in a nutshell, what we require when it comes to research in Pakistan, number one, identify what is the problem. What is the problem for Pakistan we need to tackle? If we will tackle that, research will flourish. If we will work on those lines, research will develop. So why I choose biomaterials. At that time, I'm sure I'm not going to go into detail. We had the earthquake, there was big problem. There were no implants in Pakistan. And I felt a bit guilty being a graduate from Punjab University. I didn't give back to my country. And this was one way of giving back. I established something that we were looking at bone replacement material, then we expanded to soft tissue. And now we can say that we have a portfolio of implants, low-hanging fruit, which we can commercialize today if there is a little bit of support available. So that support is needed. May I also highlight the industry input is crucial. I wrote an article in 1994 in Pakistan newspapers, not one article, many articles, that we need a bridge between universities and industries. And that is still needed. What is the mindset of the Pakistani researchers? That industry will come to us. No, industry will never come to you. You need to approach them. You need to entice them. You need to say, yeah, we are doing this, this, and this. We have got these facilities. Come and tell us what's your problem. The mindset in Pakistan industry was in the 90s that we are producing a product which is costing us 10 rupees. How we can produce it so it can cost us 5 rupees. Yes, cost value is important, but my mindset is different. I would like to see, yes, you're producing something with 10 rupees, but we can give you a technology which will make it a bit costly, but will be more selling effective. So it will have more application, more smarter material, more smarter technology. And that's where Professor Fazal Khalid, the Punjab Higher Education Commission, and the university vice chancellors, they can play a very, very important role. I created a framework document I shared with all the hierarchies. I can't remember if I shared with you, Professor Fazal Khalid, or not. I'm very happy to share with you. What is required is a very simple exercise. We can turn the corner within 5 years in Pakistan. And I very, very strongly believe it. What is lacking in Pakistan at the moment? You people give the scholarship. A student comes here, does our research of the UK or any other country, which has got no relevance to research in Pakistan. After 3-4 years, yes, he learns about the analytical skill, critical skills, all those aspects, very important. Yes, communication skills gets polished. But when he or she comes back to Pakistan, there is no base. His research becomes redundant within no time. What we require, we should be identifying the problem of the Pakistan, what is needed. For example, running a synopsis competition among Pakistan, inviting the best graduates, write the synopsis which is Pakistan-centered towards an application. Identify people, create a panel so they can come and present it to the, create a YouTube channel, make it transparent, pick up the best 50, 100 graduates from there every year. And don't please just send them to the top university. It never works. Identify the people who are the best in their field. Identify the people who are willing to invest their time in Pakistan, who have got interest in Pakistan. The people who actually want to go there and establish research in Pakistan. That is needed. If we do, and also while they're doing it research, ask them that they keep engaged with their home institution. They got to remain engaged with there. So while they're doing their PhD, they're establishing some infrastructure in their home institution. 3 years PhD will be completed. A product, a research output of translational nature will come out, which is beneficial to Pakistan, not only beneficial to UK or Europe, wherever they're doing their PhD. Only that way we will turn the corner. So I started asking this to Professor Jawwad Rehman when he was the chairperson of the HEC. I asked after that Lagari Saab, then I asked Mukhtar Saab. I haven't spoken to the current HEC chairman, so I can't claim that. But this is needed. So please, Fazal Khalid Saab, run from Punjab. I will help you. Jawwad will help you. All the UPSIGN team will help you. We are excellent research. There are excellent researchers in Pakistan. Zara naam ho to ye matti badi zarkhez hai Saki. We are very intelligent people. I've taught 35 years in the UK, and I'm proud to say, when it comes to the intelligence, Pakistan is ranked up there. They are very intelligent people, very hardworking people. They don't have the direction. They just require a bit of direction, bit of support, and we will turn the corner. And finally, Jawwad Bhai very importantly highlighted, this is the last chance for Pakistan. We are the generation, our parents, either people like me who came from Pakistan after their masters, and Jawwad, whose parents were from Pakistan. Next generation is going to be who are born and brought up here by the generation who were also brought up here. So that link with the Pakistan will disappear. We need to grab that link. We need to ensure that our children also provide input. That linkage is really crucial. I will open the debate. Industrial linkages, really crucial. Research of the translational nature, really crucial. ownership by the vice chancellor, the hierarchy, is really crucial. If it wasn't for Dr. Junaid Zaidi, I would have left Pakistan. I wouldn't have done research over there. That ownership must be there. If we don't have that from the hierarchy, we will just walk away. So please, Professor Fazal Khalid Saab, I request you through the Vice Chancellor, implement something and have a continuous improvement cycle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Look, I think the key thing that I mean, there's many good points there. And I'm just going to invite Khalid and Madiha to give a brief talk as well, if I may. The key thing I want to say is that there's a big focus in Pakistan on academic publications. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've published for many years in the UK, and frankly, most papers to me are not worth anything. They have zero value for me. And the reason is not because they're rubbish, it's because impact is what we should focus on. All people's career progression has been focusing on publications. If we focus on what impact are they having on the country, I think that is a better measure of a person's worth for promotion. And I don't think we should copy the West model of publications is everything. I think change, because they have already changed towards impact. And we all, and you know, I think that's an important point I want to just re-emphasize from a research perspective. I mean, I'm not underplaying papers on purpose, but for a reason. I'll just quickly invite Madiha, if you could give us a quick summary of the points that you wanted to make about education and where you think there's obviously, I know you've been involved in global graduates and things like that, and women leadership. So do you want to just give us a few words? And then Khalid Bhai, if you could give a summary of, this probably needs a talk on its own on agriculture, but maybe I would like to, you know, I would really like to hear from the vice chancellors, particularly where the areas are where they think we should, we can probably, they're more interested to engage with us as well. And I will send these slides back as well, and they'll become a focus for future discussions, inshallah, with Fazal Khalid Saab. So Madiha, would you like to come in?
Thank you, Jawwad. Assalamu alaikum, everybody, to all my colleagues in Pakistan, and good morning to those in the UK. My name is Madiha, and I am based at UCL. Jawwad and I have worked together for many, many years now. And before I go any further, I would like to say that I am a mother, I am a sister, I am a daughter, and I am born and bred in Pakistan. So whatever I'm saying today, it's coming from my heart, because always Pakistani at heart. And I think I really picked up on that slide that Jawwad had mentioned, that what I see in myself, the connection, the love, the strong feeling that I have for Pakistan in my heart, no matter how hard I try, I don't think I will ever be able to translate that to the next generation. And believe me, I do try very hard. So I just wanted to pick up on that, Jawwad. Thank you for making that very obvious. Very quickly about me, I am an educator by background. I specialize in educational leadership and gender equality. Those are my main areas of focus. And I know that today's conversation is more about engaging with very senior stakeholders in Pakistani academia. So I will not take up too much of your time. I will just try to say maybe 2 or 3 things. The first thing that I'm working towards is about developing supervision of PhD students in Pakistan, so doctoral supervision training. And I've already responded to some messages privately about that training. What we are trying to develop is the skills that are needed for successfully supervising PhD students in Pakistan. And I think in a post-COVID world, it has been a disaster for the world, but at the same time, what we call rising from it, there are some opportunities that have become available. For example, today, right now, we are all sitting thousands of miles away from each other. We can all still collaborate and speak with each other in a virtual world. So the biggest opportunity from where I see it is the fact that there is not a boundary geographical divide anymore. We can capitalize on this, and we can continue to support our PhD students using the virtual world, using blended learning as a model for supporting our students. I think networking digitally, doing collaborations digitally over the internet, the world has opened up really. So that is one thing we need to capitalize on. And I think all the vice chancellors here, chancellors, heads of departments, you all have the the power, the resources to make that happen, to facilitate that for your students. So that is the one thing that I wanted to say about the possibilities that are now opening up for PhD students in a post-COVID world. And secondly, what I wanted to touch upon was my particular focus remains on women in leadership. And I was going through the participant list and I could see there are several women here today. So hurrah, thank you for being here. I wanted to say that when we think about women in leadership models and trainings for women in particular, it is not a wise thing to take a model from the West and try to apply it in the East. It doesn't work. I am a daughter of East. I know how the cultural nuances work in Pakistan. So I think we do not need to take the one size fits all approach for women in leadership in Pakistan. We need to take an approach that is inclusive, that takes into account the different cultural sensitivities, that is fit for purpose. It's a tailored approach. So for example, I will give you one very, very brief example. The concept of work-life balance, that is very different in the Western world as compared to what it is in Pakistan. The concept of access to education, access to resources, it is very different in the West as it's compared to in Pakistan. And lastly, just as a generic example, things are difficult for women everywhere over the world, not only in Pakistan. They are difficult here in UK as well. There are many barriers, many obstacles to career progression. But what we cannot assume is that the same model would apply in the West and in Pakistan. So my focus is to develop those training programs for women, leadership programs particularly, which would mean that they are culturally effective and they apply in Pakistani settings, in Pakistani academia. I think that's all I want. Last thing, sorry, we have already started working on, we had our conference last year in December, and we did something about preparing Pakistan's global graduates to come on a global platform and to be able to compete with international students on an international platform. We are very passionate about that. We would like to prepare our students, who are very, very able, by the way, to come and compete with the global standards of excellence, so that when they come to international universities, they do not feel out of place. A very, very small example is that I often have students coming to me and asking me a very basic question: what do I call my professor? Do I call them by their first name? Do I call them sir? Do I call them madam? Do I call them doctor? What is the word I should use? So these very basic things, they have a huge impact when you put them all together, and how they affect the career progression and the educational journey of our students. So the third stream of work that I'm working on is developing Pakistan's global graduates for an international platform. I think that's all. I would like to finish by saying thank you to Fazal Khalid Sahab for giving us this opportunity, and to all the colleagues who have taken time off probably what's a very nice warm afternoon in Pakistan to be here today and to listen to us. So we look forward to collaborations, we look forward to networking, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I don't know if you wanted to comment, or I'll just pass on to Khalid Mahmood Saab.
Yeah, very quickly to Khalid Saab, then I would request Professor Zaidi for his comments, and then we'll have question answer session. Thank you.
And I noticed Dr. Akif Anwar is also on the call, but he looks like he's driving at the moment.
I will also have his views also.
I'm not sure if he can drive a car and give his views at the same time. We'll see. Khalid,
sorry, very sorry. Just a very quick one. I am getting a few messages, people asking about PhD supervision. So I'm just going to put my email in the chat window. We can take this conversation there.
Yeah, we very much value the PhD supervision thing, because that is going to be about, we're not doing it with one university. It's got to be scalable. So one of the things that might need to happen is we might need Punjab HEC support to get every university on board who wants to be on board and provide a master trainer. This is one of the approaches, you know, because it may be impractical to individually train every faculty member, but we want to find out the best way. And we know people who have done this at big scale before. It has to be scalable. This is the main thing. So we need your input in terms of, if you think there are things that aspects that we should bring up. That's great that people are contacting Medea. I welcome that. Now, Khalid Mahmood Saab is also a very passionate person. and it will be difficult to make him give this speech in less than about 5 to 7 minutes, but I'm really hoping he does. Mahmood Saab, over to you. Unmute kar le, sir.
Thank you so much, Jawwad. You're making me nervous now. Sorry. First of all, thank you so much, Professor Fazal Khalid. This is a fantastic opportunity. I mean, talking to the leaders today, and my only sort of one penny for this discussion today is, I mean, the agriculture and food sector in Pakistan need translation research that Professor Ihtesham has said in the beginning. And this numbers comes to my mind and takes a sleep away from me. By 2050, Pakistan will have around 400 million people. And the way we are producing food now, to feed 400 million people, we need to have 220% increase in our food production. And the way we are producing food now, we are unable to do that. This means we will become a country like, if we, for God's sake, if we do not act now, Pakistan will be similar to countries like Africa, I would say. But I'm not demonizing other countries. The only thing I'm saying here, there is a huge responsibility coming on academia. So the work that we are doing in Pakistan, I would say, unfortunately, is in silos. It's not going out to make those impact. So the biggest challenge which our Prime Minister mentioned on day one in his speech, the issues around the nutrition. So our children, I would say 45% of the children are malnourished. And this is where I think the universities could play a role. And it's not only the responsibility of agriculture universities, it's a question for all the universities. And there we have to think about interdisciplinary approaches. Here in the UK, they tried this program called GCRF. And one of the key elements of the GCRF was to bring other sciences together. If I'm talking about changing farmers' behavior, I need to have people from the sociology side. I need to have people who understand those mechanisms, how to communicate. Pakistan still have a huge number of farmers, I would say, which haven't got much education, I would say. So how do we get the message across to them? And this is where I think the universities could play a role. So as Professor Jawwad said in the beginning, and also Professor Ihtesham, so choosing those research projects, not for the sake of getting a doctorate, a nice name with me, can we deliver those research projects that pick up those real problems? And I think this is where we need to improve the quality, which Madiha has already said. So unfortunately, I've been similarly working with other colleagues, some universities, I would say. So a lot of time we see there is something which is lacking. So we need to help our colleagues. And the things which are of interest, I can give in more details, but I think with the climate change now, we all know things are just banging our door now. Pakistan has seen last year the issue with the crisis from insects, locusts coming all over in Pakistan, and now the issues around water availability. We need to breed those crops, and we need to reduce the use of pesticides because they come back in our food again. And we have colleagues here from health sector. They would like to appreciate, because if we are not having that healthy food, we end up getting people into hospitals. But that my only message here is we need to cooperate, collaborate, and communicate. So this is where UPSIGN is willing to help. So I would say thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. And it's an honor that Professor Junaid Zaidi is also with us. Sir, a great honor, sir. Thank you very much. And over to you, sir, for comments, please. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Professor Khalid, thank you very much, first of all, informing me that this sort of webinar will be at this time. And I was fortunate to listen to the interaction. And I'm really grateful to our colleagues in UK that they are willing to help, and they have been helping us. My only advice to them, please have patience, because have patience. Because in Pakistan, things move, but not that fast. And they will be continuing when the people like Professor Fazal Khalid is at the helm of affair. You will be able to get a lot of support from the universities, and you will be able to offer many things to these universities. My suggestion, advice to my colleagues here in Pakistan is that is a very strange thing. That if you start going into the research area, others areas will follow automatically because you are starting from the highest echelon, highest level, and highest level is the research. And if it is applied research, and if you are going into that area, that will be helpful for our economic activity, our social economic development, and at the same time strengthening your own research potential. That's what was my experience, that I focused mostly on the research side, and the undergraduate side, master side, that will follow automatically. And then when you go for the research, you will try to get top class faculty, top class researchers, top class funding, and that's how you will be able to raise the ranking of your institution also. And I do not have any doubt the potential and capacity of our own people. They are top class. Whenever I assign any task to anybody in the area of research, they deliver the goods. So I am really grateful to Dr. Ihtesham, Dr. Jawwad, Dr. Khalid, and others that they have been helping COMSATs and also the Pakistani universities. Professor Khalid, you have taken a very good initiative, and I am very confident that these sort of things will go a long way. Universities in Punjab, they are very forthcoming, and they are very upright sort of institutions, and they have got good potential to move forward in the area of research or innovation to take them further. Dr. Jawwad is a very famous and accomplished researcher, and I'm sure that with the help of his team, these things will be taken off. Thank you very much, Professor Khalid. Thank you very much, Professor Jawwad, Professor another Khalid, and also Dr. Ihtesham. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And we really appreciate, and it's a great honor for us that you have provided the leadership role in higher education sector for many years, and particularly with the success story and the establishment of COMSAT University. And we look forward to you for your guidance in future also, so that we can also make a little mark the way you have done a major contribution and leading the higher education sector with involving all the stakeholders in the country. Sir, thank you very much. It's an honor for us to have you in this webinar. And now we are open for question answers. Dr. Jawwad Darr, would that be okay?
Yeah, I mean, please address your questions to any one of our team. We'd be more than happy. I mean, I'm happy, or you know, if it's a topic specific thing, or if my team could just put their hand up, and I'll try and look out for it if they want to answer the question, and that way I'm not answering all the questions, if that's okay. Thank you. So please.
Can I ask a question? Assalamu alaikum.
Go ahead, please.
This is Dr. Asma Hamid from University of Home Economics. I'm the Director ORIC. I'm Director ORIC for the University of Home Economics. It is, our university is unique in the sense that perhaps it is the only university that is aspiring for women to, you know, explore their fields, particular fields. So I've got an array of questions actually. Mere ji concerns, questions keh lein, concerns keh lein for that matter. Actually, I am supervising a PhD, two of them basically. So, सबसे पहले जो हमें problems face करने पड़ते हैं, for instance, मेरा subject जो है, that's rather unique in Pakistan. Food and nutrition हम पढ़ाते हैं, health sciences, dietetics, food and nutrition ये हमारा area of specialization है. तो हमें examiners नहीं मिलते, because HEC की requirement है that we supposed to have examiners from the first world country. So first and foremost हमें एक तो इसमें problem होती है, क्योंकि streamlined subject नहीं है. Then we just you know, ask a couple of people, we just try to look for scholars, and we contact them, we send them emails, and they apologize and they say कि हमारे पास time नहीं. Number one. Number two, same problem we're facing for the publications. जितने भी आपके HEC approved journals हैं, international हैं, वो आपके of course contributor से ही, writer से ही मांगते हैं कि वो reviewers दे, और वहाँ पर भी हमें कोई positive feedback नहीं मिलता. एक दो ये concerns हैं. एक concern ये है कि जी एकदम you know, in the past 1 decade or so, and I would include myself in that category also, that there has been a crop of PhDs. और एकदम ट्रेंड हुआ और बहुत ज़्यादा पाकिस्तान में PhDs प्रोड्यूस होना शुरू हो गए, which is very good also, which is very you know, promising and very wonderful. But at the same time वही PhDs जब मार्केट में हम आए हैं, कोई प्रॉपर फॉर्मल ट्रेनिंग, यू नो, हाउ टू गो अबाउट द प्रोग्राम, हाउ टू, यू नो, सुपरवाइज द स्टूडेंट. मेरे लिए शायद इसलिए ईजी है कि जी मैं रिसर्च का मॉड्यूल भी पढ़ाती हूँ. मैं आई एम अ टीचर ऑफ रिसर्च ऑल्सो, रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी. बट हाउ टू डिजाइन अ पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट, किस तरह से साइनॉप्सिस बनाना है, क्या स्टेप्स होंगे, क्या वो है, टाइमलाइंस कैसे बनानी, हमारे सुपरवाइजर्स ट्रेन नहीं है, स्पेशली इफ वी टॉक अबाउट ह्यूमैनिटीज, उन सब्जेक्ट्स में. तो ये कुछ इम्पोर्टेंट, कोई ऐसा एक्सचेंज प्रोग्राम हो सके कि आप टीचर्स को भी, सुपरवाइजर्स को भी ट्रेन कीजिए ताकि वो स्टूडेंट्स को आगे लेके चल सके.
हाँ मैडम, बेसिकली शॉर्ट आंसर जो है ना आपके क्वेश्चन का, मैंने पहले डेटाबेस का जिक्र किया ना, हम डेटाबेस बना रहे हैं, और वो डेटाबेस का पर्पस ये है कि आपको लोग, people will be opting, you know, so we know people, experts in nutrition, professors in nutrition हमारे ग्रुप में है, हमारे नेटवर्क में है. अगर हम उनको अप्रोच करेंगे इस डेटाबेस के साथ, वो कहेंगे कि देखिए ये आपकी एक्सपर्टीज है, आप what would you like to do? Would you like to supervise, co-supervise PhDs? Would you like to would you review Pakistani journal articles in nutrition? You know, so this is why we need that database of experts, because it is the mechanism by which we link experts in Pakistan and UK, experts in UK for the needs of Pakistan in all of the things you mentioned. And I think the supervisor training, again, I mentioned, I think that is something I would love you to connect with Madiha and work with us, because the cultural relevance is the most important thing here. We are not here to tell you how to be like a Western supervisor. We want to bring the best bits of that and co-develop.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. Actually, you know, on a lighter note, you said experts from Pakistan. So, you know, then you quickly changed it. So, you know, let it be so. We can be, you know, in our little whatever capacities we've learned. So we maybe we know our jobs also, and we're pretty good at it.
I didn't mean to be patronizing. I'll tell you what it is. I'm so focused on trying to link the UK people to Pakistan. Yeah. Usually linking the other way is less difficult. But I want to let Ihtesham come in, because I did that did sound very bad, and I didn't mean that.
I was just being a little, you know, humorous. That's about it.
Can I question? Can I question? Can I question?
Sir, wait.
Can I question, sir?
Sir, 1 minute, sir. Wait kar le. Dr. Ihtesham, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Professor Khalid. Jawwad, I will just answer the question with Dr. Asma Bilal has asked on the supervision side. I think it's good. Number one, it's good to note that we are getting more PhD students coming in. There are more PhD qualified people in Pakistan now. Jawwad, you will agree with me and share the experience. You know, I did 6 years of postdoc in here prior to my academic position as a lecturer. Jawwad, I think you followed the more or less the same trend, about 4 to 5 years of postdoc. That postdoc training is crucial. And in Pakistan, we haven't really established that. What happens once anybody gets a PhD degree, he or she comes in and straight into the deep water of academia, with no training on the supervision, no training on the teaching, no training of setting up the exams, no training of writing a grant application. These are the basic ingredients for a successful academic.
Yeah.
What we require in Pakistan, and again, I will ask Fazal Khalid from Punjab Higher Education Commission, that we need to create a postdoc positions there. The young graduates from the PhD, when they come back, they actually don't go straight into academia. They do a couple of years postdoc, and that postdoc, in addition to doing the research, those things which I've mentioned, they can be trained in those aspects. And that's where the UPSIGN will be very willing to help. How to write a grant proposal, how to supervise. I'm sure there are people in Pakistan, they supervise brilliantly. But what we require, when there will be senior people helping and guiding, I'm not saying taking ownership, helping and guiding in partnership, they will link them up with the people who will be useful in their field. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Comments from virtual university Over to you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much, Professor Jawwad Darr, Madiha, and Dr. Khalid Mahmood. We are really thankful that the last year you people brought up about more than 100 experts and researchers from the UK to the Pakistan. My request to Professor Fazal Khalid would be that Punjab should also host a similar activity during this year after COVID, so that our universities of the Punjab can interact with the UPSIGN people who are sitting in the UK. This is my suggestion, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Any more comments? Dr. Seba, over to
Ji,
you.
Dr. Nomana here. जी मैं अगर ये कहूँ कि मैं अपना जो कमेंट या बहुत ही ब्रीफ सा आपको बात करना चाहती हूँ, वो मेरी 3 कैपेसिटीज में है. For a long career in Punjab University, then my UK PhD at University of Warwick, and now as Dean and Professor at a private university, Noor International University. I would say कि आपने हमें पहले ही ट्रेन किया. I would like to say that when we do PhD abroad, we are actually done an exchange kind of thing, and those are the skills that I brought back, and it was a tremendous learning. But supervision matures with time, so I think these are all good suggestions, and but I do not feel we don't have good supervisors or we are not training them. But what you make with your training in UK is also of fundamental importance. I don't see all my colleagues from the UK benefiting from what I did at University of Warwick, because we invested so much time in learning what it is to write well. And that's the first course I introduced when I came back. My question is that I'm introducing licensed course in family and marital therapy, one of the courses at NIU. For supervision, I got to have a clinical it's called systemic therapy supervisor, who would give those 6 months training. Now we have to pay them in, exchange money. There are very few family therapy supervisors in Pakistan. So I'm already networking with 1 or 2 who are Pakistani born and working there, and some who are originally from UK. Is there a way where I can reduce that cost, and they are already agreeing to supervise for clinical practice for like a group of people who are taking that course here in Pakistan? That is another idea of exchange that we started, and I think it will be very, very important for us to have expertise in the areas where we need expertise, and to provide expertise where we feel that we have another kind of area of experience.
Thank you very much. Thank you, madam. We will have a response from Dr. Ihtesham, but let me first request Professor Khalid Masood Gondal, Vice Chancellor, King Edward Medical University. Sir, thank you very much, and for joining this webinar, and over to you, sir, for comments.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, sir. Thank you very much for arranging such an innovative webinar. I think the research, very well said, is the most important job of any university, and all my participants and the colleagues will be glad to know that King Edward Medical University has published original research paper over 100 in the current COVID-19. And with me, our research scholar, Professor Mustassan, is there. He just wanted to have one question and a comment. Over to Mustassan, please.
So thank you very much, Punjab Higher Education Commission and Professor Fazal Khalid for this webinar. I am here to testify the efforts put forward by UPSIGN in increasing the collaboration between higher education institutions of Pakistan and United Kingdom. And I say my assalamu alaikum to Professor Ihtesham Rehman and Professor Jawwad Darr. So I have been part of the workshops organized by UPSIGN increasing our knowledge and increasing collaboration between the universities of Pakistan and UK. And I really appreciate their efforts. And I strongly recommend the increased collaboration between Punjab Higher Education Commission and UPSIGN UK. So I have a little query or question from Professor Ihtesham Rehman that I have been the part of an interdisciplinary research team set up by institution, by yourself, that is IRCBM at COMSAT University Campus Lahore. So our concern, we have been expanding our work on skin substitutes for use in burn patients and in chronic wounds. But my concern really is that the things are stuck up. Once we have done research and we have produced something new for use in humanity or for use of humanity, the problem is that we are facing is the regulatory authorities and their registration with DRAP. So these are the problems we are facing. So my request would be that if UPSIGN could help us in maybe arranging some workshops or for our training to overcome these regulatory issues. I know that these issues are inherent to any system, but particularly in Pakistan, we are facing problems. So I would request UPSIGN to help us in overcoming these problems, or there any solution for such problems. Thank you very much.
Before Ihtesham Bhai responds to that, can I just come in and give you some high-level points? Please. One of the things I mentioned was intellectual property and spin-outs. And the culture in Pakistan is not spinning out from the university. We know that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I'm not going to criticize the ORICs or anything like that because I'm not an expert. But what I know is when I spoke to some people in the ORICs, they were very much focused on computational software type stuff. And translating things from the medical and the physical sciences, the barriers are you need money because money requires the regulatory approval. Secondly, you need the universities and the country to change the IP policy to encourage the spin outs. And this is something I mentioned, and we are really trying very hard. And I tell you, I've had conversations in the last month and beyond that with Ihtesham Saab and others about how we can translate that. It needs investment. It needs Pakistan to probably pay that money because getting external company investment is more difficult. And if Pakistan wants homegrown implants and skin materials for the ordinary people to be affordable, it should be paying for the regulatory work, for the testing to be done. And so we need the help of the people like Punjab HEC. We need government ministers to support this. And certainly we've been trying. So that's the top level I would give. And Ihtesham, maybe you want to go into more detail, perhaps?
Jawwad, thanks very much. And President Stassen, it's good to see you. And we really value our collaboration with King Edward Medical University. Let me give you a bit of a background to that. You know, our partnership with CAMU goes back many years. We actually, the second annual conference we did in collaboration with King Edward Medical University, that's going back many years, I think at least about 10 years now. I'm getting old, so my memories with numbers is not very good. The question you asked, recently another university, they approached me in the UK. They said, we want to set up an institute for translational research. Can you come and help us? And how long it will take? And I said, you know, the how long is the piece of string. You need to really identify what you want to do. Whenever it comes to translational research, the interdisciplinary collaboration is the key. For example, I always use a phrase, successful biomaterial, which goes into an implant, is the imagination of the surgeon. You people imagine it, what you want to do, throw us a challenge, and through a process in collaboration, we deliver it. This entire process, taking one material from lab to the bedside healthcare, is 8 to 10 years process. That's it. That's long it takes. Now, coming directly to your specific question to answer that. Yes, we have got a lot of low-hanging fruit. At the IRC, we established in collaboration with you, you know it, Professor Mustas, and you, we have done excellent work on the skin side. A number of products can be launched now, which will be compatible to any standard in the world. But unfortunately, there are bottlenecks. And that's where, again, our governing bodies, our Pakistan government, Higher Education Commission, Health Ministry, Ministry of Science and Technology. And believe you me, I haven't left any door unknocked. I've tried everywhere. One of the biggest problem in Pakistan, which the mindset has to change. And I've actually written to our Prime Minister as well, that it needs to change. I've discussed it with our Minister of Science and Technology, Fawad Chaudhry Sahab, as well, that what is required, universities must be allowed to have their spin-outs. The investment will come in. What Professor Jawwad Darr was just talking about, that when we have established something, we have made something in Pakistan, but my next concept is made in Pakistan, tested in UK, sold globally. That's what we need to do. To test it in UK or in any other country, we require funding, and Pakistan or other governments will not fund that. That funding has to be created, and sky is the limit. What we can produce is just beyond our imagination, how much money that knowledge can generate. Number one, universities should be allowed to create spin-outs. Number two, professors, doctors, innovators, they should be allowed to interact with the industry and have a joint appointments. Doesn't exist in Pakistan. DRAP, they're very sportive, they're helpful, but they've got their own limitations. They are learning with us. There was no regulation existing in Pakistan about the implants. We have discussed with them. We have had good interaction with them. What is required, we establish those as we go along. Yes, it's going to be a long process, but once it is done, sky is the limit, what we can produce.
I think to add to that, if I may add to that, the danger is there are people in Pakistan who have taken shortcuts. In medical devices, there are people now who are putting medical implants into human beings which have no regulatory testing or approval. And there's a danger, because once you do that, and if you take the shortcuts to get get the publicity, unfortunately, the person who suffers is the patient. And of course, then you give a bad name to all medical devices. But look, it is a finance thing, but it's a policy thing. I think we should probably move on for another question, maybe.
Thank you. Dr. Sahab, over to you, please. Unmute kar lijiye sir apna mic.
सर आप किसको कह रहे थे किसको
रहीम यार खान डॉक्टर
अस्सलाम वालेकुम okay Dr. Sahab, I was and thank you ji. First of all, I want to appreciate the efforts of Pakistan Higher Education Commission and especially Professor Khalid Sahab, always providing the training and such type of the webinars. So actual objective of the universities are the learning outcome of the students, mean quality graduates are the globally acceptable graduate to produce. Now, secondly, as Professor Ihtesham Sahab discussed, that there is need of the bridging between industry and the universities. Perhaps where is the problem? Our teacher, our professor are not so dedicated. They are not ready to serve the industry. Is there any policy making we can make and the teacher can be available, researcher can be available for the industry? Actually, industry is demanding the solution of their problem. But we are not focused to solve their problem. Everybody is try to catch the low-hanging fruits, and they're ready to shortcuts for their promotion and everything. As an administrator, I'm facing the problem in the dedicated faculty who can serve the society, who can produce the quality graduates, which is acceptable in the world, which is acceptable to the industry, which is acceptable, or who can generate the entrepreneurship, who have the good idea to lead any group of the business company or something. So how we can get the help from UPSIGN to solve this problem? I'm located to the Rahim Yarkha, which is agriculture area, where a lot of industry. My university is dealing with the engineering and IT equipment. So our IT is a bit strong, but engineering side, professors, even PhD faculty is rarely available. And if some people are available, they are not ready to go to the industry or problem-based solution. I need your help from the Ihtesham Saab and Jawwad Saab, how I can solve the problem of the regional problem for the solution.
So
Yes.
I'd like to give Khalid Mahmood Saab a chance to answer this, but I'm just going to say one or two things quickly. Number one, you should make it part of their promotion that what is their impactful work. Yeah, when you look at their promotion criteria, change the promotion criteria not to be just about publications. Make it about what have you done that's impactful. So we in the UK we have that as part of, you know, to get promoted to professor, I have to do industry facing research and I have to show the impact, and that's part of my promotion criteria. So you could, the power is in your hands. The second thing is you need to train the academics about how to talk to industry, how to behave with industry. So the mindset is changed, and we offer that, and I have delivered this in Pakistan in COMSAT University before. The third thing is you need to train the industry to think differently as well. They are suspicious of the academics, and they don't really, because they don't have a track record of that. So we can also help with the training of the industry people to help them to better understand the intentions of the academic, because they don't trust them basically.
Yeah.
You know this, and we know this. So Khalid Bhai, do you want to come in? Because it's maybe you are obviously working in this space as well as a technology translator.
Thank you, Jawwad. I think you have already covered. I think the thing which Professor Muhammad is trying to say, the issue, the challenge the region is facing, I think this is where we have to just come out from our own silos. I mean, and I always say, I mean, where the public sector could play a role. You all know in the UK how NHS is providing help to the small businesses. So they work with them. They are in a way provide some kind of opportunity to get the innovation engulfed. So I think in Pakistan, we need to break that culture where we work in silos. Agriculture department, we need to train them. So, I mean, in the US, they use this terminology called extension services, and that are primarily provided by the universities. So I think you need to have that kind of debate where your students could spend those 6 months with the industry, with the agriculture department. And I think the idea of creating co-creation, we in the UK, we have this experience of bringing the science parks, innovation park, and also engage with the industry. Rahim Yar Khan, I know, is quite famous for seed industry. So maybe build some kind of a industry board, give them respect, invite them to the university, show what you can do. And then this is where we can build up the next step. I'm happy to help. And I think this is where those little steps, confidence building will make a huge difference. Thank you very much.
But my again question, industry is ready, perhaps dedicated faculty to solve their problem and the availability of high-tech equipment. This is the real issue at this time.
So I think in that case, going beyond the circles, and as I said, in the UK, we have developed some centers of excellence where we work together with one university with another university. So maybe creating some kind of centers, mature centers, where you can share information, share data, share knowledge. So I think there are different models. I know money is always a challenge, and finding those local solutions with a bit of innovation would help a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think where education, I mean, one of the things we are very good at is putting people together in a room. As you heard from the testimony from our friend in KMU, we can put industrialist academics in a room, and we have facilitated idea generation work. You know, we have done idea generation work, so anybody can do this, right? But if you have dedicated staff who can do the networking, bring them together to co-create ideas, listening to the problems of industry, and here are the experts in my university. And you know, if you can have those conversations on trust, then you know those, you have to break those barriers down. I always say, you can know people at the first stage. The second stage is to like the people. And the third stage is to trust them. And
Yes.
trust is always the final stage. And so you need to get to trust. Yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Akif Anwar, over to you, sir.
So thank you very much. So this is Akif from ICTM COMSAT. Talking to industry very quickly leads to talking about two areas. One is the intellectual property and the other area is money. If I may be bold enough to say, talking about money is still pretty much a taboo subject when it comes to talking about in our universities. So one of the areas we can definitely learn from.
Thank you very much, Akif. Thank you. Jawad, you would like to respond or make comment?
Can I come in here, please? I think relevant to what Akif has just mentioned, and quite a lot of comments I'm receiving through private chat as well. I just quickly want to share my screen, and this will not take more than 1 minute, I promise you. Can you see this?
Ji, please go ahead.
So I think a lot of the things we are discussing today, they are about actually what we need for postdoctoral supervision and what we need for supporting students and addressing that linkage between academia, industry, and universities. So this is just a rough idea of what we are doing. We're trying to develop. We're trying to develop supervision skills, the industry partnerships, the governance structures that need to be in place, and then the interpersonal skills that are really important for students, academics, everybody alike. And let me say that I think in Pakistan, there is a wealth of skill, a wealth of abilities, and very, very learned, very, very strong knowledge. It's about bridging that gap and bringing everybody on the same level playing field. So I just thought I would take this opportunity to let everybody know what we are doing behind the scenes, because already I can see there is a lot of need for support, and many people, whilst in the last 40 minutes or so, many people have already asked me, what are we trying to do? And whilst I have your attention, the next thing I quickly wanted to show you was this thing about Senior Women in Leadership Development Program, which is how to become successful leaders in academia, how to get those skills, how to negotiate, how to be strategic in your alignment. So I think it sort of addresses the things that we have already spoken about. I'll just stop sharing my screen and back to you, Jawad.
Well, Dia, thank you for showing that slide. I'm sorry I didn't have time to show it, but I'm glad you showed it, because in a way, everything everybody has said today kind of is encompassed in that slide. But look, this program is being developed. It's at a very, very early stage. We know that it is needed. We need your input. We need your help. And when it comes to the delivery, we want it to be scalable. We are not going to train one person at a time. Yeah. And because our time is very limited, aapko pata hai. So I think this is where the real engagement is we're going to see if this engagement goes forward. We are here to help on that. And I'm really glad Madia's leading this, and she'll bring together everybody who needs to be involved.
And Jawad, I think it is to be said that please remember, it is not like we are bringing a model from West and trying to implement it in Pakistan. I was saying to everybody in private that there is going to be a consultation exercise. There's going to be a listening exercise where we will invite you, all the people who supervise students, to come and tell us what are the specific challenges you face and how can we work together to resolve those challenges, whatever those challenges may be. So it's not going to be like we come as the experts and we just implement that. It's not going to be, it's a collaboration between the two.
I mean, you have to remember, within UPSIGN, we've been supervising PhDs in Pakistan. Some of the team have really, for a long time. So we do know the issues, but of course we still want to hear from people as a first point. Fazal Khalid Saab, over to you, because none of my team is putting their hand up at the moment.
Thank you, sir. Any last comment you would like to make? Because now we have to conclude, and then it's Sham Saab, and then we'll conclude.
So I think what you've seen today is a bunch of very passionate people. Every single one of these people is very passionate from the UPSIGN side. But, we really need help. And I think in the past, since 2017, hum aram se chal rahe hain, or low level pe chal rahe hain, or within the last couple of years, I think things are really picking up. The network is establishing. We are at your service, but just remember, our time is precious. Your time is precious. If you try and engage with us one-to-one, just get, Professor Darr, come to my center, mujhe aake ye karo, that's not going to work. What's going to work is if you work with us and use the network. You know, it's there for you. Help us to develop the database. Help us to do things on a scale. Because hum impact chahte hain. You know, we are all passionate. But if we get involved in nitty-gritty small things, then our time bhi zaya hoga, aapka bhi time zaya hoga. So please keep us at that top level. We can introduce you to people. We can request people to become your faculty members or whatever. We'll try our best. Theek hai na? But we really need support. And I think that's my closing message. But you won't meet any more passionate people than this team and the others who didn't come today, I'll tell you. Maybe could I ask if anybody else in my team wants to give a quick closing and then over to you, sir. So if anybody, Ihtesham, Khalid, anybody else want to say anything? Should we leave it there?
Jawwad, thanks very much. While thanking Professor Fazal Khalid for arranging this excellent opportunity to have a chat, I will just add what Jawwad was saying. You know, we are here to help. Engage with us. That onus is on you. You need to highlight and remember. You people know much more than we do sitting here. What are the real issues in Pakistan? Well, I'm probably a unique person that I go to Pakistan so often, and I engage with my team at the ISCBM on daily basis. So I know about things. But if you have any special issues, any need on the industrial interaction, on the research interactions, that has to come from you. We are here to help. And very importantly, fikr Pakistan ki kare. You know, when we will think about Pakistan, things will move forward. And also, as I said, engage with the vision that you are doing a collaboration on research to solve the problems which are there to be solved in Pakistan can help and that can help our nation. I'll just stop here.
Thank you very much, Professor Ihtesham, Professor Jawwad Darr, Dr. Madhiya, Dr. Khalid Mahmood, and all the members of UPSIGN team for joining on this joint webinar discussion. I'm also thankful to Dr. Junaid Zaidi for joining in this webinar. And I'm also thankful to the Honorable Vice Chancellors, leaders of the universities in higher education in Pakistan, and the Director ORICs in this webinar. And actually, this is the first session, and we have opened a dialogue and debate. And this network is going to be available jointly to work together with PHEC and HEC and other stakeholders and all universities. And there are big success stories coming from COMSAT and the center in Lahore. And would like to see that following this interaction, other institutions will also pick up. But one or two couple of things that I would like to emphasize. I think we will have a follow-up program and activity. We'll discuss it with you, Dr. Jawwad and Dr. Ihtesham. This leadership women leadership training program is one important element. And maybe in the next segment, we can engage. We have about 10 universities, women universities in Punjab. And we would like to engage them, the vice chancellors, the senior faculty members. This is one important program that we would like to focus. The next is PhD supervision and training program. Seriously needed and should have done long ago. But I think we have to identify persons and who can work with us. But certainly Dr. Madhiya can take a leading role. And we can have a joint workshop. We have been doing many training programs with universities and colleges, postdocs, relevance of research and impactfulness of research. All these are very important element. And then, of course, the different areas in which UPSIGN is working with not only different stakeholders, but also convincing the government on policy side. As you may all know that we're also working with Dr. Ataur Rehman on setting up of a new university in Sialkot under this knowledge economy on a similar line what has been established in Haripur in collaboration with Austria and Chinese institutions. and certainly there would be a lot of opportunity for us to have linkages and collaboration in that area. But of course, agriculture, health, and energy and policies are very important. And then this spin out coming from universities is very critical. Maybe in policy making, you can help us so that at least we can put up these proposals to the government for consideration, so that we can create that ecosystem, which is at the moment missing so far as the technology commercialization is concerned. Industry academia linkages and all other elements that have been highlighted from energy storage batteries to various other important issues where research is critical. Nursing is also very important. So I think we will be picking up on training, on research, on collaboration and networking to follow up on this webinar. So once again, thank you so very much. And with this, I would like to close this webinar, and thank you so very much. May God bless you, and looking forward to see you again in another webinar. Thank you very much, Dr. Ihtesham, Dr. Jawwad Darr, and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, sir. Good
Thank you, sir. It's nice to meet everybody. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.